Hey everyone, it's Ashley, and before we get into today's episode, I want to set the stage for what you're about to hear. I just got back from New Orleans with my friend Sarah. We've known each other for over 20 years, and we share something fundamental, which is we are both drawn to vampires, to witches, to the occult. We are witchy sisters. We are drawn to the magic that lives within the shadows, your favorite gothy, girly friends, moms, and all the things. This past weekend, we went to the Anne Rice Celebration of Life and the Endless Nights Vampire Ball. And I want you to understand this wasn't just a girls' trip. This was a pilgrimage for us. For Sarah, this was about paying homage to an author who has shaped her entire life since she was 12 years old, an author who gave her permission to be powerful, to be dark, to take up space. For both of us, it was about reclaiming our power as magical women, about being in a place where we could both fully show up as who we are. No editing, no shrinking, no apologies. We could wear what we want. We could dress how we want. We could, do everything that we wanted to do. So what you're about to hear is a conversation we recorded while we were still in New Orleans from our hotel room, still in the energy of it all. It's raw. It's real. It's unscripted. It's all over the place. And it might make you think about the parts of yourself that you've been keeping hidden. So let's go to New Orleans. Hi, I'm Ashley, and welcome to the Big Crystal Energy Podcast. This is a place for the crystal curious, arcane-minded, and everything in the in-between. In this podcast, we will jump down the rabbit hole into the metaphysical, esoteric, occult, and spiritual realms. Nothing is off limits. I'm a mom, wife, an orthopedic physician assistant by day, and a seeker of all things spooky and kooky by night. I've spent my entire career in the medical field, but have always felt like there is more out there, and this is where we will explore together. We will have conversations with crystal healers, rock hounds, artists, musicians, spiritual coaches, magic makers, and anything woo-woo that strikes our fancy. Let's take our spiritual journey to the next level. So grab a crystal, pour a cup of tea. It's time to feel the big crystal energy. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Big Crystal Energy. I'm Ashley, and today I'm with a very dear friend, Sarah, and we are coming to you from New Orleans, the vampire place itself. So we're recording this from our hotel room, and we came to New Orleans over the weekend because, well, we'll get into it, but Sarah has been a very long-term fan of the author Anne Rice and all things vampire. So we came to New Orleans for the Anne Rice Celebration of Life, and we also went to the Endless Nights Vampire Ball, and we've just been doing so many fun, fabulous things over the past several days. And I thought it would be really fun to record this episode while we're here together because we have been friends for over 20 years, and that's just really special. And it's
a long time
in and of itself. And for this episode, I don't want to just give you like a play-by-play of everything that we've been doing for this trip because, that could be boring. So I just want to share with you all the things that we experienced, so many of the takeaways that we've had. And it's just like this journey that we've had as friends over the years. So we met over 20 years ago when we went to college at the University of Kansas. I was already working at the Entomology. Okay, let me tell you guys, Entomology. I thought when I originally got hired that I was getting hired for the Psychology Museum. Psychology is not the same as entomology. Entomology is the study of insects. And so I worked at the Entomology Museum, pinning insects, barcoding them, all the things. And then Sarah, after I had been working there, she came to work there. So that's how we met. And, the friendship blossomed over the years. And here we are all these years later. But if you don't really know too much about entomology, I'm going to give you a very brief synopsis of what that actually is. Entomology is like the guys, the scientists that we worked with, they would go all over the world. They would collect these insects. They would bring them back to the Natural History Museum where we worked in the Department of Entomology. They would give us these basically like bags of bugs,
pizza boxes,
bugs, boxes, all these things of, we had to dry the specimens. We had to pin them on things. We had to categorize them, all of this. So it was like kind of an interesting job. It's not as gross probably as it sounds. The insects were all dead. But you know, they were kind of stayed in that like frozen state forever. So I don't know. I don't know if that really has anything to do with the trajectory of our lives and why we like the things that we like today, but maybe it has a little bit of
dead bugs
brought
us together.
The death and that preservation of life brought us together all those years ago. But, this episode is kind of an episode about like the things in our own lives that we want to preserve, the parts of ourselves that we want to keep alive, the parts of us that we feel excited about, like this hunger of excitement, the things in our lives that we have been craving all of our lives and that we're really reclaiming at this time. So Sarah has been a very devoted lover of Anne Rice, her novels. I mean, I'm sure most of you are familiar with one of her most famous novels, the
Interview with the Vampire.
You guys, it's been a long day. Interview with the Vampire. Yeah. I mean, it was a famous movie, all the things. Mm-hmm. But Sarah, she's been pretty much like a lifelong fan since you were what? How old were you when you first?
12.
Probably so all these 13 years later, Sarah, she's working, she's a teacher, she's a mom to 2 young boys, you know, doing all those things. And now we're having this trip where we're just like having this moment of freedom and fun and all of the things. So before we talk about everything that happened this weekend, I want you to know that I want Sarah to kind of explain to us like where she was at when she was, 12 years old and when she first discovered the author and like all of those kinds of things.
Yeah. So, Ashleigh was asking me this the other day and she asked, what was your first novel that you read? And, it was actually completely out of order of how, I guess, the Vampire Chronicles could be read if you wanted to stay, in succession of how they were written. But it was this, novel Pandora, which was about a female vampire during the Roman era, and so, I got the book from a cousin of mine and I was just hooked like immediately. I've always loved history, world history, ancient Egypt, Rome, Greece, and that had a lot of elements in the book, as well as this whole story of this woman who became a vampire from like one of the most ancient vampires, that were alive during that time. So I don't know, it just kind of hooked me into this whole world of vampires, but at the same time, just, her journey and, the history of it all. So, and then from there, I started getting into more of her novels and meeting all of the characters, in her novels. And it's really cool because I think there's something for everyone when you read her books. At her Celebration of Life, for example, she wrote Interview with the Vampire, like almost like in one sitting, because she had, a daughter who passed away. And so a lot of that was coming from a place of pain and hurt for her. But the way that the novel's written, you would never know that. It's just this crazy, experience about if you had to interview a vampire, what would that be like? And so, but from there, she built this whole world. And now obviously like people are, I'm obsessed. I don't care. Like I'll admit like the obsession is real, but her fan base is incredible. And the people we met there. And then, afterwards we ran into a few people that were there like the night afterwards. And everybody's just so incredibly kind in the community that she built, essentially this whole world she made. And I think you just can connect to her characters a lot. Because essentially they started off as humans, so they had this human experience, but then it goes beyond that. The older the vampire gets, and you talk about human things like being lonely, the fear of being lonely and left behind. Like that's a human fear, but also, oh, the supernatural vampire monster with all these powers also feels lonely. So it's just, I don't know. She just was able to connect, or have her characters connect with this whole population of people that, I think as a young kid, which I discovered that it wasn't very rare. I thought it was kind of rare that, I like these cool vampire books and I'm like a kid, but a lot of people started reading her novels at a young age. And I thought that, and it's a critical time though, because you're a preteen going into being a teenager. And then, and then from there, it just grew. Like everything vampire to me was just like, woo. And so kind of got on the bandwagon with that, but it was definitely her that started it. So
we originally planned to do this trip. Sarah knew that there was this Anne Rice vampire ball. And so we tried to get tickets, but I guess we were not quick enough on that because it sold out like instantly. The Anne Rice vampire ball. Well, so the next night, which was Saturday night, they have another vampire ball that you can go to that's sponsored by somebody different. So we were able to get tickets for that. So we got the tickets. We were planning to do this trip. And then Sarah found out that they were going to be doing this Anne Rice celebration of life because Anne Rice passed away 4 years ago. And so she's been waiting for the celebration of life to happen. And it was incredible because she was able to get us tickets to it. Yeah. So I just felt like from the bottom of my heart, from when we first started planning this trip and until that happened, I was like, oh, this trip is way more than just like a friend gathering. This is like a journey.
Yeah. I felt like it was pilgrimage. It all lined up. Like I felt like this was meant to happen, like this specific time. And it was so funny. Yeah. Cause we were planning this like, I don't know, like a few weeks beforehand anyways. Like the ball part of it.
For a while.
And this is my like fourth time to New Orleans. So I was just happy to come back. And when her son Christopher announced, hey, we're doing her celebration of life, I was just like, oh my God, like I have to go. We have to go to this. Like this woman means so much to me. And then she also passed the same year that my own mom passed away. So it was just like, I had mourned a loss of my mom and then this other very prominent female figure in my life, Anne Rice. And it was just like, I have to pay my respects to this wonderful person who allowed me essentially to escape from reality, and into this journey, this whole world that she created. Which obviously I'm not the only one that thought this about her. Cause the theater was packed. So this trip meant so much more than just, we're going to go to the vampire ball and have that. Like, it was like, no, this person essentially like has led me to, a lot of who I am today as a person and the things I enjoy and like, but, just her kindness, her ability to have built this whole world, like essentially just from her own mind.
Fascinating.
She's just a wonderful light, in the world that was so dark, but, I'm so glad that I got to finally say like, thank you and, goodbye,
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people there felt really similar. I think for me, it like coming from a different perspective because I've read a couple Anne Rice novels when I was younger. I didn't have the same connection that Sarah did. And so when she got the tickets to the celebration of life, I was like, yeah, I'm totally happy to go with you. I think that'll be cool. But I have to tell you guys, it was incredible. Going to this event was next level. as someone that don't even feel that connection to her, like I was crying through the whole thing. I mean, to me, it was a theme that I've been thinking about a lot myself, but she turned, like Sarah was saying earlier, she turned this event of her child passing away at such a young age. She took the darkness of that and created this incredible world for people to explore. And I just think that from what I could see on the videos, that she had this whole world, all these novels that she wrote, like about all these different kinds of topics, like dark topics and just so many different things. But she was, as a person, was such a joyful, happy, like generous person. Just loved her fans, loved her people. She would do things. She would go so far above and beyond for people in her world that she cared for. And just to like learn about someone like that is so fascinating because you just don't see that too much today.
Yeah.
And learning about her, I think just it literally made you want to be a better person. Just sitting in that room. And I have to say, like, one of the most impactful things that started right at the beginning, they were talking about the November 1st being All Souls Day, all these things. And then they did a dedication and they made November 1st Anne Rice Day. And I thought that was really cool to be with Sarah in that moment when that dedication happened.
That was amazing. I was like, kind of in shock because I was like, wow, this is like an actual, like, this is all for her now. Like, literally all for her. Like, we are celebrating her every year now. And, you know, it meant a lot to her, like, you know, the All Saints Day, because it was something that I think she, being from New Orleans herself, like, it just was very meaningful to her growing up too, you know, in her faith. And, you know, later on, she came back to, her faith later on, because she has a series of novels where she wrote more from a religious aspect of things. But yeah, it was just really cool that the city was like, we owe so much to her. Yeah, I thought that was,
I'm sure they do,
great.
though. I mean, think about the element of her, the city. I mean, it's brought tourism, it's brought people into the city. People are very interested. I mean, even today we were driving around, we drove by one of her houses. We parked, we were like, you know, people were giving us like a stink eye as we were like taking pictures in front of the house. You know, they're probably like locals that live there in the neighborhood. They're like, oh, another weird fan. But then we saw so many other fans like walking by and taking pictures too. And just to have that impact and to be bringing people to a city and like keeping it alive, even all these years after she wrote her last novel, after she passed away, like just to keep that energy and spirit alive is so cool. And New Orleans has such I mean, if you've never been here before, it just has like this incredibly like magical energy to it. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, don't you agree? I mean,
it's alive, and it's just, yeah, the energy here is just, it's so full. But I mean, I know it gets a bad rap for some things, but I mean, I think you have to, I was telling her, like, to come here maybe the first time, I'll go down to Bourbon Street, have all that crazy fun that people come down and get drunk and do whatever. But after that, go and actually walk around and see like the real life and how people really live, and go to Jackson Square, and then go out into the other parts of the city to see just how, I mean, it's just a really good vibe. And the people here, honestly, are like the friendliest people. Yeah, like I've never been here and had a bad experience. Nobody has ever been unkind or, you know, just like mean in any way. Like they are very welcoming, and maybe that's the Southern hospitality. I don't know, but like they're just very, very like kind people. I don't know.
I mean, it's true because you're walking around. I mean, you could think in other places like Las Vegas or New York City, you get to, I mean, like places that get a lot of tourism, it could get annoying, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people being, I mean, especially here because you can have open containers on the street. people being intoxicated, people saying stupid stuff, you could get annoyed and you could have a negative attitude. But the people here, like everyone, they just love it. They love the tourism. They seem to love people. It's just like the music, the energy, the food, the culture, the diversity. It's really just like a very special, unique place.
Yeah. And that's why, part of the reason I've come back, here, and this won't be my last time here, but yeah, it just has such good energy just in general. There's no other place like it.
No, not at all. So I want to speak to like a little bit more about the celebration of life. I mean, when we left there, when we were there, I just did not expect it to be such an emotional experience. I mean, it was just so interesting, like hearing from the fans, her, what was it called? The page on Facebook? People of the page, her Facebook community, her book, what was it? Her fan club, all these things. It was just so interesting hearing about people's different connections and how her work changed so many people's lives and how she, just had this like for me, it was just like this dichotomy of like creating like that things like sadness and darkness and death can actually in and of themselves not only like create beauty, but they can actually have like a beauty to them in and of themselves. And I think that's a concept that is hard for a lot of people to wrap their head around. But I know me and Sarah, like that's a concept that we're very interested in.
Yeah.
So for her to be able to eloquently put all that together, I think is just a really fascinating topic and not one that a lot of people are able to dive into, I guess. And it was just, I think that for anyone, even if you, like myself, I wasn't, a super fan or anything, like I wanted to be a fan. Like when I walked out of there, I want to be a super fan. Like I want to read everything because it just felt so impactful. So I can't even imagine how it must have felt for people like Sarah and people that were, that have been so committed to her work for so long. Because I mean, her first book came out, Interview with the Vampire, came out in 1976. So that's a very long time to have work. So she had work, like she did work with the vampire. She also did work, like she had like some other,
she wrote
under different names.
Oh yeah. So she wrote The Mayfair Witches, and then she's written, she started delving into werewolves. So, The Wolf Gift was the first one she wrote. And then, she went into some, erotic novels. So under a couple different pseudonyms, the Sleeping Beauty series was one of them. And she's written some other ones. I've read one of them. I really didn't dive into that too much. I mean, I think I will at some point, but, for me, it was, any of her supernatural stuff, just cause that's an interest of mine in general. But I think it's just how she writes. Like her descriptions of things are just, you see it. Like it's visual, very visual. So you don't really have to, it's like a mind movie, I don't know. It just, how she writes it is, you almost just can't stop. It's really hard to stop. Yeah, she just kind of kept going with the whole thing. And, even if she were alive today, I think she would have definitely extended and continued that world. And who knows what other areas she would have explored. I don't even know what would have been next, but, yeah, the werewolf book, the Wolf Gift. I was a little hesitant. I remember at first, but I was like, okay, she's never disappointed me before. So, and of course I got done with that book and was like, wow, like that, amazing. It's, yeah, her world was just, I'm almost still shocked that it came from like this one person's brain, just, and her legacy that is left now. She's definitely one of those writers that her work's going to be known for years and years and years.
It's so interesting. Like, what I think about a lot is just how there's certain people that were born on this earth to have these very specific gifts, right? Like, she's the only one that's ever been able to write like her, right? Like, you have these musicians, you have writers. She's the only one that ever was able to do what she does. Like, there's other people that write about similar topics, but they're just not able to have that reach like she was able to create. And I find that to be absolutely fascinating just in life, like how even us as people, like, we have within us a specific gift that is only something that we have. Maybe it's not necessarily at that level or that people can recognize, but we each contain something unique and special within us. And then also, I was really interested in what we were talking about before we started recording. I was asking Sarah some questions, and I was talking to her about like what it is about vampires specifically that she felt really attracted to. And I really, really loved her answer. So I'm going to let Sarah speak to a little bit about the whole thing about vampires and what kind of brought her into that world, because I think probably if anybody that really likes vampires, I think it's probably a similar reason, but sometimes we like things and we don't really know why we like it until we actually sit with that. So yeah, share that idea with our listeners here.
It, like I was telling her, I think a lot of people, well, I mean, I can only speak for me, but yes. I think a lot of people I think with vampires, they're excited about, oh, I can live forever, I'm immortal. But with me, it was almost like, you get to be in full control of yourself, and it goes kind of beyond, like, it's almost like now you are no longer human, you have control and you have power. And one thing I didn't even think to add, but I think as a woman, just because unfortunately, as women, historically, we have not had that. But to have just control and power to just do whatever you want and however you want, and no one can stop you. And even though you essentially are a monster, and, go out and drink blood and all that kind of stuff, you kind of ascend. And I think that's alluring to me and very powerful in itself, even if it isn't necessarily about being a vampire, but, a lot of, her novels, like Anne Rice's novels, when I've read about just the vampire, a lot of them are, yes, they're excited about having the power and all that stuff, but also, they kind of go one of two ways. Some are, they mourn the loss of being human, but then some, like Lestat, he just like embraces it and is just like, I am powerful now. No one is going to stop me. I can do whatever I want. And I don't know. There's just something appealing about that to me. I think it's great. Especially in a world where you really can't be like that necessarily. Like, you don't get to do whatever you want to do because you have bills and kids and a job. I think just breaking away from all of that, like, and
very appealing,
very just like, wow, like I get to control everything and I cannot be stopped at this point. So I don't know. I really think that's what drove me to eventually just getting into not only Anne Rice, but just other aspects of the supernatural, because even with like spirits and things like that, like there's just that power and control. And I don't know. I love that because I don't always feel like I get that, especially as a mom, as a teacher, as a regular human being,
We have to hide. We have to live behind certain masks, or we have to live in a certain way to, fit in with society. And I think, me, Sarah, other people, probably most of the people listening to this podcast, like, we have these different things that we believe, or these different obsessions that we might have, or these different ways that we like to dress or present ourselves to the world. But a lot of times we have to tone ourselves down because it's not as mainstream. It's not as acceptable. We don't want to offend, like, we don't want to offend our students or the students' parents. I don't want to offend, or not necessarily offend, but like make uncomfortable patients that I'm caring for and things like that. So we just tone it down and we just come up, we show up as our normal, just, like our more bland selves. And so I think this whole concept of the vampire showing up, like, they're just, it really doesn't matter. They can truly be who they are because there's no concern. Like, they're going to live and they're going to transcend despite everything. And so that I can understand how that feels like really empowering. And I also feel like being in a place like New Orleans, especially for us, like, we can show up as our true, authentic selves here and nobody bats an eye because it's like very,
oh yeah,
anything goes in a place like that.
I mean, there were so many people walking around the last 2 days that clearly you knew that they were here for either Anne Rice or one of the balls or maybe not even either one. They were just here because it's New Orleans and you can look a certain way and appear. And really, I felt like no one batted an eye.
No, nobody bats an eye.
Not in our gowns, nothing. Like, they were just like, okay.
If anything, they embrace it.
Yeah.
They love it. They love it.
And a lot of the, some of the Uber drivers we rode with the last few days were just very, what are you in town for? Oh, like, that sounds great. Like, just very like down to earth.
Yeah. Oh, okay. A vampire ball. Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah. Which makes you feel at that point, then you're just you're like, okay, this is my place. I'm in my comfort zone. I can be comfortable here. No one's going to look at me or side eye me weird and think that I'm just this complete, like, total, like, weirdo. Like, and I think because New Orleans is obviously known for just first, cultural diversity for one, but then also because of all the vampire stuff. I mean, I don't know. I feel like, the whole city, the people that are here just are very welcoming.
Very welcoming.
They don't care that you look a certain way. It is what it is. And they're like, all right, go and live your best life. Go to your vampire ball, go to your shops and, buy your crystals and whatever.
No, live your best life.
You.
I think having these travel experiences where just in general, I think for me, as you guys have been listening to my podcast, I personally am traveling a lot and having a lot of experiences in the past year, but a couple of years, but it's really been instrumental in my journey because growing up, I always felt like on the outside and this, that, and the other, but like going to these places and being around people and like having friends like Sarah and people that truly get it, it makes all the difference in the world. So, if you are someone that feels like us, that has these similar interests, like you have a place here, your people are out there. They really are. And there's a lot more people that are into this stuff. We're walking around a city where there's like literally thousands of people that have these similar interests. You just have to you have to either go inward and enjoy the novels, the movies, the shows that have come out of all of this. There are, there's different activities and balls, like places that you can go to find your people. You can feel very alone sometimes when you have these different types of interests, but like there's people out there. That's what I've discovered. Maybe it's not whatever mainstream or whatever, but trust me, there's definitely people out there. You will find your people if you try. And every time I come on these trips, I always feel like so energized to share. Cause I think that, especially in like this metaphysical community, crystal community, like there's so many different ways, like different avenues you can go down. You can go down so many rabbit holes and everything. And I like to kind of share all these different rabbit holes. And I think the vampire rabbit hole is very real. And, Anne Rice is obviously like a very famous vampire author, but there's lots of other ones out there. So it doesn't really, whatever you're into. But, I think that whole idea of just like the, that control and the power. And like Sarah said, like, especially as women, we often feel like, men are doing whatever. And it's so cool to see these roles of like women, like just like totally being in control, and like the vampire energy, just like being in control. And I think that it's very empowering. So I can't wait. I can't wait myself to like dive in more and get into this now that I go home and add more to the TBR list, because as if it wasn't long enough already. So now tell me, Sarah, like what was from this trip, like what was maybe something, like what was your highlight, and like what is like a takeaway that you are gonna take home with the trip and share maybe with others or something like that?
I think the biggest part for me, was a lot of it was because of Anne. I'd been waiting for literally years for Christopher to put together his mom's celebration of life. So I feel like with her, at least, I felt a lot of closure. Obviously I don't really want to say goodbye, but I mean, she's not here in the physical world anymore. So it was so nice that her son recognized just her fan base and knew that so many people wanted to pay respects to her. I think one of the highlights for me was not just the celebration of life, but actually going to the cemetery and seeing, where where she was buried. And I mean, like kind of in my head, I kind of was saying thank you to her for, I mean, it was overwhelming. But at the same time, for me, it was like, I got to say goodbye to one of my favorite people that ever lived on this earth. I'd already said goodbye to my mom that same year. And then, when Anne passed, it was almost like part of it was, hard for me when she passed too, because one of the things I always wanted to do was meet her in real life. So, I didn't get to meet her, but, being there to honor her and to say goodbye and thank you just for everything she did for me as a girl growing up, to just open those doors for me, and to just enjoy reading. Like, I think that's a huge, 'cause I'm a teacher. And so for me, I always encourage kids to read, and I don't care what it is they're reading. So for me, I always tell them, I'm like, I love vampires. I like Anne Rice, and yeah, I don't expect them to get into that, but, just the importance of opening doors to a world that you get to escape to, especially going through, being a teenager and going through heartbreak and loss. And, she was just so much more than just like an author to me. Like she was just, I don't know, almost like a second mom in a way. Like, I don't know, like in a weird way, but like her as a person, just losing her as a person. I think when Christopher finally spoke at the celebration of life too, and said, goodbye to his mom in that way, and his voice kind of broke, because he was crying. I think that was the one moment of the whole thing that I tried to hold back my tears as much as possible, but I mean, I could feel myself, like, just because I understood his loss, just as a child of that, the person that you lose. Obviously, yes, as a community, like her fans and stuff, we had a huge loss, but for him, it was like, I knew that feeling. I knew it. It was so raw. But I'm hoping with her, and him doing this for her, that he felt closure too. And, we didn't stay to talk to him or anything. I'm hoping at some point, maybe I'll get to go to an event maybe later on in life where I can meet him in person and just tell him, thank you too, but, that was a big moment for me. Like, just being able to go to that, to celebrate her, to say goodbye to her, pay my respects to her. And I think for me, the second kind of big thing is just, I've been going and going and going as a mom and as a teacher, and just, you live this day to day, just kind of like you were saying, in this mass, and being able to be here, in the city that I just absolutely love for so many reasons. And just feeling like I get to let go of that for a little while. Not that I'm out of that role by any means, but I get to be myself. I get to be Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't have to be, you know, me as teacher, me as mom, me as community member in the town that I teach in. Like, I just get to be
Mm-hmm.
my real authentic self, and going to all the stores and all the places to eat and like dressing how I want to dress. You know, I can't always dress the way I want to, you know, present myself that way. But, it was a very, like now I think going forward, I think I am going to sit down and kind of almost make a list. I think I have some goals now
Mm-hmm.
to reach and go forth with. And, yeah, it's been about 10 years since I was even ever on a plane to travel anywhere. And I totally forgot like how short of a trip it was for me from Kansas City to here. Is only a 2-hour flight. So I'm like, I could do this again,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and maybe not make it a decade long, you know, in between here. But, yeah, like I think now I don't know, I have some goals to write down that are totally attainable.
Mm-hmm.
But I just need to do it. And
yeah,
planning for this, was a lot of fun, really. I mean, I was definitely like kind of stressed about it there for a while, but then I was like, no, cause you're going to get there and it's going to be amazing. And it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I can probably do this. I think, have some bucket list places to go now, and like definitely Salem. I know Salem for me has always been a place I'd want to go.
I'll know it's my favorite.
Yeah, that's probably like the next big adventure I think I want to have. So
Yeah, I think it's just really nice. Like, you know, especially as moms, because we play, I mean, not that dads don't, but like moms, we all know we play a lot of roles for our children, for our work, for everything. And it is so important sometimes to just step out of those roles, because when you step out and you are able to do something that's really for you, you get inspired for so many things, right? Like you break out of your day-to-day routine, and then you can do these trips and you can have these experiences. And then it just like opens your mind to have these, you know, dreams and aspirations for even more and more and more beyond that. Which I think, you know, like Sarah was saying, like I have these goals, like, yeah, have attainable goals and write down goals that you don't think are attainable, because they probably actually are. We don't want to limit ourselves. So, you know, just get out there, like, and you don't have to go anywhere that's super far away. Like she said, it's only a 2-hour flight here.
yeah.
And it's like one of her it's like her favorite place to go. And it's really only a 2-hour flight. You know, you don't have to go to the other side of the world to have a life-changing experience. Sometimes you could go somewhere that's an hour away and have a life-changing experience. Mm-hmm. It's not really about that. It's just like, I think it's really about breaking out of your day-to-day routine and making yourself a priority and letting someone else handle everything else for a few days. And, you know, the world won't come to an end if we leave for a few days. Like, everybody can survive without us. You know, moms need a break too. Like, we can go and just have that moment. So I'm just so glad that, I mean, her and I, we've been friends for so long. I feel like this trip has been so cool for us, because we've been, you know, we haven't lived near each other in a very long time. So it's been a really cool way for us to like get to know each other again as friends and just spend that time together.
My Coca-Cola obsession.
I didn't even know she was obsessed with Coca-Cola, and now it's like all I can see is Coca-Cola.
You were like, I'm learning so much about you. It's like, it's just Coca-Cola. I
know, but still.
Coke Zero. I don't know. I love Coke. I don't know.
And the statement of the day is, I love Coke.
I love Coke.
Okay. Now, don't ask what kind of Coke it is, but don't let our students hear that. My teacher loves Coke.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be like,
yeah, no. They've never thought that. They've always actually brought me the drink.
That's very sweet.
I've never gotten illegal drugs.
Okay.
So
that's very sweet. So I guess just to wrap things up, like it was really a special weekend. I learned so much just about this beautiful author, this beautiful individual. I learned so much about Sarah. I feel like our friendship, like really even Like we became even closer friends. It was just so easy. It was just nice. Like, I feel like she's just very easy to travel with. She's like, okay, whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's so nice, you know?
Yeah.
It's just easy going, chill, go with the flow. And just to have like a friend that is like that is just so refreshing, especially coming from, we're both boy moms.
Mm-hmm.
Life is chaotic all the time, loud, chaos, messy. We can just be here and have our our own little piles of stuff. We don't have to clean up after anybody. Yeah. It's so beautiful. So anyway, I am going to wrap things up, but thank you guys so much. I hope that if you are an Anthem Rice fan, you'll let us know. We're going to post a bunch of photos from our travel experience. I would love to hear about anything vampire related that you guys are into. And I'm going to start down the Anne Rice journey myself, flying home, because I just bought Interview with the Vampire at the bookstore yesterday, and I can't wait to dive in. And yeah, a lot of lessons learned this weekend. It was a beautiful weekend.
Yes.
And we had so much fun. Anything else, Sarah?
No, I think you're kind of spot on. I think anytime we get together, even though it's not in person all the time, I feel like we do talk a lot via text, but yeah, like there's just something about actually connecting with a person in, real time, being with, someone, that has similar interests. 'Cause it's not every day that I'm interacting with somebody who gets me totally. So, we get each other. We've gotten each other for a while, but it's nice to come back together and just kind of let loose and get away from the mundane everyday stuff. And yeah, it's great. Okay. It was great.
Best. All right, Sarah.
All right.
Love you.
Love you too.
All right, guys. I've been sitting with this conversation since we recorded it, and there's something I want to say. We all have parts of ourselves that we've learned to keep small, parts that hunger for something we're told we shouldn't want, whether that's freedom, power, time that's actually ours, permission to be who we are without performing palatably. This is a concept that I have been just going back and forth within my mind so much lately. I feel like as women especially, we tend to hide from the versions of ourselves that we truly want to be because we want to show up in a way that feels more comfortable for others. But I also started thinking, are other people showing up in our world to make us more comfortable? No, I don't think so. What if we truly stepped into who we are? What if we truly showed up as the women, the people that we want to be, without being fearful of judgment, without being fearful of what other people will say? What if we just woke up and were who we are? What kind of freedom would that lead for us? Like, I would feel so powerful and so free if I could just be in that every single day. And this trip really reminded me of that why can't I be? Why do I have to hide who I am in any way? Why do I have to worry about being myself, who is a very good person, a very nice person that just likes certain things? Why do I have to worry that those things, those few things in my life that make other people uncomfortable, why do I have to hide them? I don't. So this was a real true testament to the power of not only friendships that are soul connected, like Sarah and I mean, we have known each other for such a long time, and we have this common thread that runs throughout our friendship and our relationship. We can show up as our true selves. We can dress the way that we want. We can just be the people that we want to be without judgment from the other person. We share a common interest that's not really societally normal, I would say. We share this love of vampires. We share a love of witches and occult and magic and just being ourselves and being silly and being goth girls and all of the things. And this weekend was so good. It really reminded me that we deserve to show up as who we are. And if you've been struggling with that, think that maybe we should just sit down with that and have a moment and think about what it is about us that we're scared of, what we're scared to show the world, and why does it feel so scary? Because I guarantee the more that you show up as your true, authentic self, you will actually attract more people into your world than you will push away. And the more that I've opened up to the sides of me that I always was worried that would be off-putting for others, it's actually not. Maybe to a few people, but were those many people really anyway? No. So just sit with that. And if you have things that you are concerned about, if you want to share with somebody, but you don't know who to share with, you can always reach out to me. I'm very open-minded. I'm very accepting. I love talking about basically any topic. It doesn't have to be in this realm. So whatever that trip is for you, maybe you don't have to go to New Orleans. Maybe you don't have to go to Salem. Maybe you don't have to go to Savannah, Georgia. Maybe you don't have to go to Iceland. I'm just naming places that I've been within the past year or so. You don't have to go to any of those places. Maybe there's a local museum that you just love to go to. Maybe there's a local witchy shop that you just feel so inspired by. Maybe they have classes. Maybe they have group activities. There are always opportunities for us to find connection and community and to show up as our true selves. And so that's what I want to say. This trip was so much more than just a trip. It was a true journey of coming back to who we are. And I've had a lot of those journeys this year. This has been such a reclaiming year for me, the last 2 years actually. And the more that I do, the more and more I realize that it is totally great being a kooky person. Because really at the end of the day, I'm not really that kooky. I'm just a mom of 2 little boys. I'm a wife. I have a full-time job. And that's all pretty normal. Yeah, I have some different interests, but who cares? That's what makes life fun. So keep on being your most magical self and always reach out if you have any questions, comments, or whatever it may be. I love you. I think you're magical. I think you're fabulous. I am so thankful to have you here. Bye. Thank you so much for jumping down the rabbit hole with me. If you connected with this episode in any way, I would love it if you could share it with a friend. Also, please tag me on social media. I'm at mystical.mama.ash or at Big Crystal Energy Podcast, mostly on Instagram. It helps so much getting my episodes out there and finding more magical, kooky, and spooky friends. Sending you all Big Crystal Energy. Cheers!